the Westchester Borough Council meeting work session. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance, and why don't we start with Brian McGinnis? We'll begin with some announcements. First one, Borough Council work session for May will be held Monday, May 18th, 2026 at 6:30 p.m. in Borough Council chambers. So it's moving to Monday because of the primary. Item B, the Westchester University conditional use hearing is continued to April 27th, 2026 at 6 p.m. in Borough Council chambers. C, effective May 2026, the Finance Committee meetings will begin at 5:30 p.m. and the Smart Growth Committee meetings will begin at 6 p.m. So those two will flip on their committee day. On Sunday, April 19th, Mayor DeBaptiste is partnering with the Westchester University to host the 2026 Westchester Community Cleanup from noon to 2 p.m. Sign up through our website to clean up your favorite block, park, or neighborhood. And let's work together to keep our borough beautiful. I know I'm signed up for it. I'm ready to go. And the Westchester Police is also helping with the mayor. All right, other announcements? Any other announcements?
Hello, members of the council. My name is James. This is Sam. We are here on behalf of Jitters Bar on Gay Street. We are requesting an exception to the 60-day timeline for the special event application. We unfortunately missed the dedeline, and
I'm sorry. I'm thinking that this might be other business, not announcements. Or it should have been put on the agenda.
We didn't get the information until it's dead.
You
File.
yeah. Okay. But if maybe other business at the end of the meeting, but
apologies for the
that's
prematurely jumping. Whatever is preferred by
other business.
other business then. Cool. We'll be back. Thanks.
Okay. Any other announcements? Any comments, suggestions, petitions by residents, taxpayers, and visitors in attendance regarding items not on the agenda? Please be advised there's a 5-minute limit, and I have some discretion. Thanks.
Hello, Borough Council and Smart Growth Committee. I'm Sarah Rogers, and this is my husband, Dan Boland. We reside at 516 Scott Alley, directly behind 516 North Church. We're long-term borough residents since 2014. I'm a member of the Sustainability Advisory Committee and on the board of Barclay Grounds. We have major concerns over the zoning hearing board's decision on 1037 variance request for 516 North Church, the garage and ADU project. We're asking for the borough to appeal the approval of the variance. The board did not seem to understand the full process or scope. Specifically, this project will not go through the Planning Commission and a valid hardship was not provided. The project as approved more than doubles the square footage allowable under the current code. The numbers the applicant provided were misleading. The borough's main concerns with this project echo what many neighbors raised at the hearing and in writing: stormwater management, turn radius, and line of sight. Environmental impact and safety are of great importance to us in the neighborhood and community at large. The applicants are aiming to position this large, oversized structure right in front of the only houses on the alley at its narrowest portion, which is 11 feet wide. The hardship presented was not legally viable. They simply do not want to follow the ordinance. We respectfully request the borough appeal this variance approval because, again, it is our understanding this will not go through the Planning Commission. Here's a copy of what I read at the March 31st zoning hearing board, as well as a breakdown of the actual building coverage. Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you.
My name is Chris Menon. I reside at 112 West Virginia Avenue. I have lived at 112 West Virginia Avenue with my wife since 1985. We raised our daughter here as well. I'm here to ask the borough to appeal the zoning variance at 516 North Church Street, granted on March 31st, 2026. I don't understand the hardship for why the variance was approved. There's a large house on the property, and the owners claim hardship to build a larger garage than zoning allows with an ADU on top. The hardship that concerns me is for the owners of the two homes across the narrow alley. They will face a larger structure than current zoning allows. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Kimberly Love, and I live at 507 North Darlington Street, behind the property at 516 North Church Street, requesting the variance relief to allow a structure to be built that exceeds the maximum building coverage permitted by the Westchester zoning ordinance. I am here today to provide comments as a concerned and affected neighbor in the hopes that the borough will appeal the decision made by the zoning hearing board to grant the variance. For context, we learned at the original zoning hearing board meeting that a married couple currently occupies the dwelling with no other residents. The residence has 5 bedrooms. The property currently has off-street parking for 2 vehicles directly next to the residence via a driveway off of Church Street, which is the closest possible proximity to the entrance of the dwelling. Church Street is a wide 2-way street and also has ample on-street parking due to no buildings existing across the street. The proposed need for the additional structure is to accommodate a 2-car garage plus 3rd paved parking spot with an ADU above the unit to be placed at the back of the property. The back of the property is the lowest grade of the property and would completely pave and make impervious the entire back portion of the property, which then flows into the alley and down further graded land behind the property where other residences are located. The applicants have rationalized the request by claiming that all other properties in the area have garages, that the size of the structure needed is to accommodate an ADU, and that the second floor ADU is intended to be used by the resident's mother, 83 years old. Correction to some of those rationalizations. Only one other property on that block of Church Street has an actively in-use garage on the alley that belongs to the property directly next door, which was recently renovated and the garage recently constructed. And that garage is set 10 feet back from the alley. And it also has no structures across the alley from it. There are only 2 actively in-use garages on the alley itself, the one just mentioned, and the one that of Sarah and Dan who just spoke, which is part of their 1899 constructed carriage house dwelling that is directly across from the proposed site of the new structure on an alley that is only 11 feet wide, as previously noted. I'm here to voice neighbor concerns, not just for the neighbors directly impacted as those who live directly across where this would be constructed, but those even further in the radius of the property. The proposed structure would only have a 5-foot setback off the alley. We have not seen plans for stormwater management, which is already an issue with the properties that reside directly behind the said property. As previously noted, line of sight and turning radius on this very narrow alley is a significant safety concern for pedestrian traffic, as well as oncoming vehicular traffic turning off of Marshall Street, which is a major thoroughfare to the hospital. Also of concern is the removal of green space, the impact to trees, and the setting of a precedent for building size variances, ADUs, et cetera. My understanding is that for a variance to be granted, and the applicant must prove hardship and demonstrate inability to make reasonable use of the property. I believe that the information presented clearly proves that the residents are not facing hardship and are able to make reasonable use of their property without requiring this variance. We hope that the borough agrees. Thank you for allowing me to speak today.
Good evening. My name is Bill Lynch. My wife Barbara and I live at 526 North Church Street. And you may have surmised many of us live close to one another and on Scott Alley, where the proposed building and the exception to the ordinance is proposed. I also would like to see the borough revise and review and revise the approval of the variance, mainly because I think there's a design solution that would create a better outcome for everyone. But that hasn't been pursued, and I think that's one of the flaws of the process so far. And I think there hasn't been enough discussion locally about what the options were and could be for everyone concerned. I certainly agree with most of the testimony that's been presented so far this evening. And I just believe that we should make the effort as a community to have more conversation and more discussion about what kind of solution would work for everyone, at least to optimize that. Also, I think I guess other people have said, we've lived there in our home since 1990. And while we do have a building on our property that was at one time a garage, it's no longer functions as a garage. And one of the reasons is there's not enough access for turning radius to get into access the garage. And also, I think that's true before, the current rules that govern the access to garages. But also, I think the solution here is something that deserves more discussion, and there really was insufficient, although technically maybe it was enough to talk to a neighbor on the north and a neighbor on the south, which is what the proposal included. But there were a lot of people affected here, as you've heard testimony to that effect, with water runoff and property engagement and visual engagement. And I think that we're missing an opportunity in the borough if we're not considering the bigger picture, the context, and just going by a very technical legal exception to what's going on here. And in either way, I think the fact that that we have an exception to a rule to the seeking the variance, and we've made this as exception with no apparent or evidenced hardship in that case is setting a very dangerous precedent in terms of how we do that in this neighborhood and other neighborhoods around the borough. I think if we're going to have a rule, we should stick to it. And in this case, it's not whether they can have a building or not. It's about basically what that design of that building has and the impervious surface that's covered, et cetera. So I think those are compelling reasons to reconsider this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Cynthia Ween. I live at 500 Scott Alley.
Cynthia, I'm going to say one thing.
Yes.
You can speak. If there's anyone else that wants to talk to oppose or ask us to oppose the variance or, revisit it, you'll be the last one. If there's someone for it, you can come on up and say an opposing argument. But if you can speak because you're standing here. But I know we've had a lot and there were people at the Smart Growth. So to keep us moving along, you go ahead, but you're the last one asking us to go back and oppose it.
Okay, short and sweet. Okay.
Yep.
We purchased our home in 1981. Our home is located on the narrowest part of the alley. So when we wanted to put an addition on, the borough discouraged us from putting the garage on Scott Alley due to poor sight lines, turning radius, et cetera. So our garages are on West Marshall Street. And lastly, our front doors, Boland's and mine, face the alley. And that's critical for us in terms of aesthetics, what we see, and I think resale value. I would ask anyone here to consider if they would like looking at garage doors from their front door or smelling car fumes from their front door as value added to their property. Perhaps making use of 516's already existing driveway on Church Street might solve the problems for us. Thank you.
Thank you. So I'm assuming you're for it. Or have
No,
different-
Madam
different-
President, my name is John Cottage. I live at 532 North Church Street. I actually waited to go last because I have some
I'm
perspective.
I'm sorry. We just got to keep this moving because I don't think this is the place that we can make a decision as well. And that's where I
Okay.
want to just kind of cross-check. I mean, do they need to come to smart growth and get it on the agenda for smart growth? Do we need to put it?
It's been to smart growth.
So, yeah, Mr. Esty, what is our approach here?
The zoning hearing board orally approved the application by a 2-to-1 vote. The zoning hearing board, as you know, has to issue a written decision. That has not been done yet. So the appeal period begins, a 30-day appeal period, on the date the written decision is issued. Obviously, we haven't seen that decision yet, so we can't give council any advice on whether or not to appeal or the potential success of such an appeal.
So does it make sense then, if the if the decision came out tomorrow, smart growth would be in that 30-day window. So does it make sense for the smart growth team to have this on their agenda next month, once, hopefully, if the decision's out, to discuss whether or not we want to appeal?
I guess the question is, who makes a decision to appeal? Is it smart growth?
Borough council would make
So
that
it's all
decision.
council.
Would make a recommendation from smart growth. I think.
Okay. Okay.
But would we still be within the 30 days?
For
Whatever adjustments are necessary to stay within the timeline of the statutes.
Okay, so right now, assume you're coming back to smart growth next month after a decision has been actually written up, that then they can discuss and recommend and go through the proper process next month with all of Borough Council.
And if I may, if anyone who entered their appearance as a party at the zoning hearing, you will get a copy from Mr. Sagner of the written decision.
Okay, I did have some additional things that had not been said, but I do want you to know that of the people who have spoken, there are 5 households on that alley.
Sir, please, I've come.
You
to
know, the
smart-
amount of time you've just spent here, I could have finished my talk, but if you can just,
But I would like
it's
to
one-
get the respect when I say thank you. We've heard a lot from other people,
It's-
then people come back up and then start to speak on top anyway. It
Madam
kinda
President,
shows that
I
you
have
don't
one
respect
point.
From what I'm saying. I don't want to hear your point at this
You know
point.
what?
Come back to
I've
smart
lived in
growth.
this borough for over 20 years,
Too. I've lived in this borough.
and
for
I
20
think
plus years.
I should be allowed the
Any other comments, suggestions, petitions from residents regarding topics other than the variance that you want to bring up to the table to talk about today? All right. Moving on, reports and presentations, the Rail Restoration Committee. Annual quarterly report, Jason Levin.
If we could pull up the PowerPoint.
Good evening, council members. My name is Jason Levin. I'm the chair of the Rail Restoration Committee. I know we've got some new members of council who I have not met yet, so it's good to see you. Happy to introduce myself and give you a quick background. I know we want to be quick on this, but this is just our committee's annual report on what we're doing, what we've done over the last year, where does the project stand. So we have lots of information here. There's more in the appendix if you want to dig into things, and I'm happy to answer questions after or over email. But if we keep going. So this is our standard map of the line, so you get an idea of where it is. You can see the dashed line there is actually the Westchester Railroad tourist train run from here at Market Street to Glen Mills. The red is actually the proposed Westchester Metro train, which is a commuter service train, which would be a shuttle that takes passengers to Wawa. We still don't know exactly how the connection is going to happen, whether it's a pedestrian bridge or if we can do a cross-platform with SEPTA. That's currently not in the cards, but as you can see, it takes you down to the end of the line of the SEPTA service right now. And just one quick point on that map. We've recently, as a committee, decided to consolidate the Westtown and Cheney stations at Cheney University's camp because there's a lot of state property there that we think a new station could be constructed. And there's not as much flexibility at the old Westtown location. And we think that passengers coming from the Westtown area could easily access this combined station. It's also better for operational purposes. And same thing on the Westchester and the Westchester University station at Neald Street, we don't think would be a really feasible location. This kind of gives you an idea. So this service would not interfere with the tourist train, which operates mostly on weekends. We're proposing Monday through Friday service initially. So the trains would be locked out from each other, temporarily separated at all times. There'd never be any interaction between the types of trains. We're looking at standard FRA certified equipment, standard locomotives. We would like to procure battery locomotives. We think there's some good technology coming on that could be quieter, more efficient, more affordable from a fueling standpoint. And just getting a couple coach cars, probably one locomotive, 2 coach cars for each run. Currently, budget for both capital and operating for 5 years is $50 million. I'll talk about this at the end, but we have a state line item that's been passed through the House, but is waiting to get approved by the state Senate for $25 million out of that $50 million. So the idea would be take that state money, go match it with federal or private dollars somewhere. But that's kind of the layout of the current budget, but that's a very preliminary budget. We want to get an engineering firm to really take that on. This was an analysis that some of the members of the committee did. They took some publicly available data and took a look at where residents of the borough commute to and where workers in the borough commute from. So the next slide kind of gives you some of the data on that, which gives you an idea, 700 on a daily basis average, there's 740 inbound commuters from Westchester to Center City, and then vice versa, 439 coming the same way. So that gives you an idea of the end-to-end potential, not to mention within the line. And just a couple of accomplishments over the year. So one of the biggest ones was working with the borough and the Westchester Railroad on the 15-year lease renewal, getting some language in there that would make it possible in the future for a third-party operator. That was critical for getting, working with Representative Pielli on getting the $25 million state line item. And also we worked with Rep Pielli and PennDOT to try to get the project into the 2025 state rail plan. That plan still hasn't come out, so I can't confirm if it's in there, but we're pretty sure that it will be. Back in November, we submitted to the borough the updated 5-year operating plan, financial plan. And we've also we surveyed with Westchester University and Westtown, and we're working to get a survey going at Cheney just to get a level of interest there. And then just lots of meetings with state reps, county leadership, and everybody else. And yeah, no major asks tonight, really just continue your support. We've been gathering letters of support from all different stakeholders, Westchester University, Penn Medicine. So we're not quite at the point of going for that grant, but I really want to get us to the point where we have the right conceptual plans that we could put that in. There's some opportunities out there this year that I would love if we could pursue them. And just we're starting to engage with media a little bit. We have a new member of the committee who is very involved with media, and he's been working with them to try to work with their transportation committee to get them aware of the project, just kind of getting that relationship going. So just making you guys aware of that. And that's really it. Yeah, questions?
Yeah.
I asked your colleague earlier about using light rail services, if that's on the agenda at all for consideration.
So the previous iteration about 3 years ago was Pop-Up Metro, which is that battery light rail train. I would say it fell flat because of a lot of different reasons, but one would being that it's not FRA certified and it couldn't really interact with the existing system or other equipment on the line. So we're moving towards just having standard equipment that's already approved. Yeah.
How have the interactions gone with the elected counterparts in the other municipalities?
Such as the townships on the line. That's on our list to get in and kind of do this presentation with all of them. We have not done that. This has been shown to media recently, but not like Thornbury Township. We know we need to talk to those folks, and just other Goshen and others along the line. So that's on the list for this year for sure.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, and on the flip side, oh,
Hey, can you answer the question?
sure.
Tom Walsh, 318 West Minor Street. Who owns the trackage rights and will there be any change in the trackage rights? Thank you.
Yeah, so SEPTA is the owner of the property, and yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions from those in attendance? All right, we'll move on to the Westchester Railroad report, not to be confused. Derek?
Right. Good evening. I love that we're talking about trains. This is great. Good evening, Council. Madam Mayor, thank you for having us. My name is Derek Slifer, and I'm the Operations Manager for the Westchester Railroad. And tonight we're giving a brief presentation of the work being done to preserve and operate our railroad. As you may know, we are a completely volunteer-run organization. Our mission is to collect, restore, and showcase historic equipment, artifacts, while operating a demonstration railroad for the public education and enjoyment. Everything from train operations to track work, maintenance, and restoration is done by volunteers with no paid staff. In addition to our regular weekend train rides, the railroad hosts popular themed events throughout the year to coincide with the time of season. We also operate private charters and school field trips during the weekdays. These events attract thousands of visitors to the borough and support our railroad financially. Looking into history, in 1986, SEPTA discontinued commuter rail service on the line between Elwyn and Westchester. The track sat unused and deteriorated for nearly a decade. In the mid-1990s, our group, Four States Railway Service, partnered with the Westchester Railroad Heritage Association to restore the line as a tourist railroad. After extensive volunteer rehabilitation, service was restored in 1997. Since then, the railroad has carried over 250,000 passengers and continues to grow. Today, the railroad operates nearly year-round and serves more than 20,000 passengers annually. It is fully self-funded through ticket sales and donations, with occasional grants for specific projects. The railroad also meets strict safety standards set by the Federal Railroad Administration and maintains strong partnerships with SEPTA and the Borough of Westchester. With costs rising exponentially and material shortages industry-wide, we are working very hard to secure and stabilize our equipment and infrastructure for the future. This year is especially significant for our organization. We've reached a milestone of 30 years of partnership with SEPTA and the Borough of Westchester. Last year, we signed a new 15-year sublease agreement ensuring continued operation of the railroad well into the future. If you go to the next page, we have a map here that highlights all the different territory that we have. It's divided into 3 main segments, and that's noted on the top of each page. If you can go to the next page, routine inspections both in-house and externally play a critical role in ensuring safe operations. Our railroad is inspected by our crews 2 to 3 times per week, whether trains are running or not. In the summer of 2025, SEPTA conducted a comprehensive 3-day walk-in inspection of the railroad's track and bridges. Later that year, in the winter of 2025, the Federal Railroad Administration performed an unannounced inspection of our entire operating territory. In both cases, our railroad was found to be in compliance with all applicable safety standards for track and bridges. Some other ongoing maintenance includes vegetation control, monthly grade crossing inspections, and general upkeep of stations and ground. Crews are also out clearing storm damage that occurs and using new equipment to stabilize track and with mechanical tamping and inserting new railroad ties. There are also several projects currently in progress. One of these is a major fundraising effort we call It's All About the Bricks, to perform repairs to the exterior of the historic Glen Mills Station, that's in Delaware County. This building is nearing 150 years old and is a major part of our tourist experience. I included brochures with your packets. If you go to the next page. Several major projects have already been completed. One key project is the Dilworth Town Curve rail and tie replacement, completed in the fall of 2025. This critical infrastructure improvement had a total cost of $136,000, with $53,000 coming from the railroad's general funds and $83,000 coming from a matching grant from the state's multimodal transportation fund. This project included replacing 1,700 feet of rail, installing 250 ties, and adding ballast. It greatly improved safety, stability, and long-term reliability. Unfortunately, this year we were not awarded an NTF grant as they were extremely competitive and available funds were very limited. We are currently seeking other funding options. If you can go to the next page. We recently purchased a new piece of equipment called a Fairmont TKO tie inserter. This machine cost us $40,000 and will make replacing ties faster and more efficient. This past year, we've replaced approximately 900 ties. Just for an idea, a mile of track has about 3,000 ties. Next page, please. Looking ahead, future plans, we focus on the continued infrastructure improvement and preservation. Large-scale projects include replacement of a culvert at Oakbourne, applying for federal Section 130 funding to upgrade 2 highway grade crossings in Delaware County. Those are both pictured there. The cost of these crossings can be upwards of $250,000 per crossing. Section 130 grants can possibly pay up to 90% of that if we can justify the need. We're also looking into improving ballast and draining conditions by performing undercutting at Cheney. This involves removal of fouled ballast and replacing with fresh ballast and ties. If you can go to the next page. Actually, 2 pages, I'm sorry. The most significant proposed project is the construction of a train shed at our Adams Street Yard in Westchester Borough. If you go to the next page, we have a rendering. This facility will protect historic locomotives and rail cars from weather damage, provide a safe work environment for our volunteers, improve maintenance efficiency, and enhance the overall appearance of our yard. We've had an engineering study done and a builder has drawn up plans. This project is estimated to cost the railroad approximately $350,000 and is currently in the approval process with SEPTA Real Estate. If the project gets the okay from SEPTA, we would greatly appreciate the borough's assistance and cooperation through the zoning and building permit process, as this project is very important to the continuation of our railroad. So that's our yard site at 500 South Adams Street. So in conclusion, I just have pictures and everything. That's the rendering of the building, and we have some other zoning maps and everything. In conclusion, the Westchester Railroad is a successful example of community-driven preservation through volunteer dedication, careful maintenance, and ongoing investment. The railroad continues to provide educational experiences, support local tourism, and preserve an important part of regional history in the borough. With strong partnerships, a renewed long-term agreement, and future improvements planned, we are ensuring that we are very well positioned to continue operating for many years to come. So thank you for your time, and I welcome any questions council has.
So these are the same tracks that the Railroad Restoration Committee would use, right?
That's correct.
I realize it's a little shorter than what they have planned.
Correct.
So are there differences in the maintenance or requirements or to
Absolutely. So our lease stipulates that we maintain our class to class 1 standards. That's an FRA requirement. I believe what they're asking for is class 3, which is approximately 60-mile-an-hour track, and that is radically different and much more expensive. So class 3 is what you'll find on like SEPTA's main line.
Okay, thanks.
Yep.
So Derek, I have a question for you.
Yes,
All the
Mr. Flynn.
replacement of the railroad ties.
Yes.
I see them thrown on the side of the tracks.
Yes.
How they have creosote in them, correct?
They certainly do.
Which is a carcinogen and which is, could contaminate the groundwater.
hmm
Okay, so how long do you let them sit there? And I did see a pile in your yard. How often are you guys having someone come and safely discard them?
So as of right now, the ties that we remove, they stay on the side of the tracks. The ties that you see at the yard, those are brand new ties that are waiting to go in. Most of the new ties that we've purchased actually have a much lower creosote content than the old railroad ties. We haven't had a group come in yet to remove our old ties. We've kind of been stockpiling them, and pretty much they're just shredded wheat right now. Those ties were put in, some of them were in the 1960s. Probably all the creosote is mostly gone. I don't know that for sure, but we just stockpile them for now along the right of way.
So to follow up, second question. I feel like I'm in the White House pool right now. I'm asking follow-ups. When you going to do it? Because it's a very bad eyesore, and the creosote is probably leached into the ground now. And if you say it's not in the ties anymore, which they probably aren't, and they're pretty much sawdust, a lot of them, you know, it's something that it's on my radar only because of contamination. And the rail yard itself is one of my top 7 contaminated spots in the borough. So I just wanted to give you a heads up that I'm coming to take a look. Thank you.
What out of 1 to 7, what's the railroad?
Oh, you know.
Number 7.
You just made.
So we're at we just made the cut.
You're lucky. That'll probably be the last month of my my term.
Okay.
So, but I'm coming there to take a look at it. You're number 7.
Okay.
Dono Greens first and National Foam second.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions?
Yeah, a quick question about the rendering and the proposed train shed.
Yes.
You would have to get SEPTA approval for that first before you would go through the process of getting any zoning approval.
That's correct. We reached out to zoning, and we were very promptly told we can't do anything for you until SEPTA approves that. And that's what we've done. So we've submitted it to SEPTA's real estate for approval.
Thank you.
A question about the shed.
Yes.
$350,000 for a shed? I'm very surprised by that.
Yeah. Well, it's a 45 by 150 building with a 22-foot ceiling.
It's like a little house. Is there a bathroom inside, shower?
Maybe sometime. That would be nice.
All right, any other questions? Any questions from those in attendance? All right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, Borough Manager report.
Good evening. Here's a picture of the most important person in Westchester. The other two are the mayor and the governor. On March 19th, the mayor and Bill Mann joined educational leaders and the governor at the Melton Center in town to discuss deployment of artificial intelligence in learning environments. Here at the borough, we use AI solutions to digest large documents, generate outlines for reports, and Bill's leading a small group testing more AI tools and techniques. AI is a tool that's going to be commodified or put a price to in our market going forward. So the better AI models are going to cost money. So we're evaluating whether or not the tool is useful for us in a workplace environment. We haven't come up with any final decisions, but one thing I've been starting to spread around with my colleagues, the managers, is that please, when you write emails to me, write them yourself. Don't use a bot to write them to me. But it's kind of a gentleman's agreement amongst us right now. But that's as far as we've gotten with our AI implementation tools and staff. Here's Bill again, sending out our borough's first e-newsletter, which I consider to be quite a success. Ahead of schedule with the team, me, Ramsey, Dana, and Bill got this out on the street, and we have we send it to 385 people, and we get these nice monthly reports where we can look at emails that bounced, and those are email addresses we can remove from the list, and we can resend emails that people don't open. We had a pretty good open rate, and then about 20% of the people that opened the emails clicked on something in the email and followed through. So we get to look at this. We're hard at work at the next edition. We're going to feature building and housing issues since its rental license season is coming up. I'm going to talk a little bit about capital projects tonight. The Gay Street closure is well underway, as you can see. The sliding bollard system was installed at Darlington and Gay Street, as shown in this picture. And it's called a Matador system because those stainless steel bollards slide out of the way, just like a Matador gets out of the way of the bull, over to the side where they lock in place. There's a special key that unlocks these gates, and we are going to distribute and train public safety personnel on how that operates. And so that in the event of an emergency, they can get equipment and people into these areas. Here's another picture of the concrete having been poured on Gay Street on the west side of the intersection. They're moving quite quickly because it's outdoor dining season in the borough. We've got, as of today, 6 more cafe permits in process. We've issued the other 24. The weather's not been super great every day. I took this picture on a beautiful April day, but I think it was 47 degrees and windy, so no one was enjoying food outside on that particular day. But the weather's improving, and we'll have those cafe permits out on the street, and that's just a beautiful setting and just a beautiful place to enjoy. Couple of 3 change orders were in the mix so far, 2 you know about. We had to move the electrical conduit. Trying my pointing techniques. Nope. Now I did it. What did I do? All right, stop clicking, Bill. We had to relocate electrical conduit between streetlights. That was about a $35,000 change order. We had to remove the rusted corrugated stormwater pipe shown in the other picture there. That was another $40,000 of work. And we just are reviewing a change order. I just got the estimate today to do additional paving in the location of Darlington, and that's about $8,000. And we're going to evaluate that and see where we go from there. But I don't have a decision yet for you on that one. Phase 2, we are in the midst of designing them. Those are going to be additional closure infrastructure at Church and Walnut Streets. For this year's open air market, we're going to use the same technique we had before, which are water-filled barriers on both sides of these streets. So when the emergency personnel come and they need to get quickly into those blocks through those areas, they will just pull the plug on the water-filled barriers, move those out of the way, and get the equipment down where they need it to go. We're considering different closure infrastructure in these locations, much like this picture, which I took on a vacation because I can't stop thinking about municipal management even when I'm out in California. These are removable bollards, and we're thinking about using these because they're cheaper, but they do take longer and more effort and time to take out and store and put back in. We need heavy equipment, and for the crash safety resistance, these things need to be pretty heavy. So we're wrestling with these design considerations before we come up with a final plan to present to you all. But we figure this is going to be bid out this year so we can budget for it for next year. So more to look forward to there. We should be done with the Gay Street closures that you see coming sometime in July. We're still on schedule. I want to talk a little bit about High Street and then finish with some nice pictures of our Taylor Run stream restoration, which is looking really good. Just so you all know, we don't make these plans up right out of the blue. We go through planning processes, and this was something done by our old traffic engineer, traffic planning and design, which got approved in 2020, which is a pretty lengthy corridor plan for the entirety of South High Street from Rosedale to Market. You can find it on our website. So for the block from Minor to Barnard Street, we've indicated there'd be brick sidewalks, stone curbs, renewed tree wells, ornamental lighting, and I said brick sidewalks already. And we've priced that out at around $1.2 million. However, when you go out there and you take a look like I did on Monday this week, I think it was, it's a mishmash out there. Some of it is brick sidewalk in really great condition, like the picture in the upper right corner. On the left, it's brick sidewalk, not so great condition, combination of concrete curb and stone curb. And in some places, there's no brick sidewalk at all. It's concrete, but it's in decent shape. So we've got kind of a little bit of everything along this one block of roadway that we're looking at. One thing we were looking at is getting nice larger tree wells installed in this area so the trees have a better chance of surviving. And this technique is called a silva-cell, which we would require land developers to do, but we actually don't think this is the right technology to use for this solution because there would be a lot of infrastructure going to each property, stormwater pipes, sanitary sewer pipes going through this underground infrastructure to get to the home. So we don't think that silva-cell is really a good choice. And also silva-cell is very expensive. So we've kind of pivoted on that away from our normal design considerations and thinking about just expanding the size of the tree wells to give them a better chance of survival. And lastly, this is what it looks like when you get a whole crew out to get a job done real quick. This is the landscaping being installed in the Taylor Run Stream Bank restoration. I think it's probably complete by now because this picture was I'm getting a thumbs up. This picture was taken a few days ago and in time. Here's the funny thing about landscape restoration projects. You don't know you did them in about 7 or 8 years, and that's when you know you did it really well. So what you should see here in 7 or 8 years is a really gradient of perennial shrubs and canopy layer trees that look like it normally would in a normal forested condition. It's one of the few places in the borough we can actually pull this off. So I'm really proud of this project and how it turned out. And that's my manager's report for this month.
Thank you. Any questions, Brian?
Sean, I know that you said the whole project was going to be finished on Gay Street in July, but when will it reopen for vehicular traffic once some of the concrete is cured and some of the main parts of phase 1 are done? Is that all? That's not going to be July.
No, I think that is I'll have to look at the project schedule to give you an exact date, but that is not going to be all the way through to July. What we need is the concrete to cure completely before we can let the traffic back on it. But we can do that. We're pretty much out of the blue in terms of Darlington Street to do that, but we have to pour another one on the west side of Gay Street. Then we're moving to the east side of Gay Street, and then Matlack will be done last. So I can get you a specific answer. I can. That's an important question. I don't know it off the top of my head.
Yeah, it'd be good to know. I think a lot of people are wondering how long it's going to be closed for vehicular traffic, at least from Gay Street to Darlington or High Street to Darlington.
Sean, quick question about you skimmed over a really important part, High and Gay Street. It's been a point of pain for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And we had an email exchange. When will that go out to bid?
Well, I would like to see go out to bid in the summer. I got an estimate from the engineer today that it might be later, and I asked why. So we're kind of in the middle of back and forth about when I would like that done. We have money in this year's budget. It's not quite enough, I think, to reconstruct the whole intersection, but it's close. But I'd like to get that bid out, and I'd like to get the project started this year. They're currently getting permits, and there's not a really whole lot of design to do. It's simply a recipe of specifications and materials that we want to use. It's really getting that permit together for PennDOT to occupy the roadway and make these improvements and coordinate the inspections of all of that project. It's a little time consuming, but I'm looking for ways to accelerate that so we can get that.
Yeah, I agree.
Get that
The sooner the better for that.
Agreed.
The tree removal, will that be another change order or will that be a totally different contract?
I'm leaning towards using money from our normal tree removal budget, even though it is connected to the project, because we haven't made a final decision. We're going to meet and talk about that. Because to make it part of the project, then prevailing wage and other considerations come into the equation. And we already have a contractor at a bid price to remove trees. I'm getting a quote from them.
We'll replace it with a different tree.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. There's a Bradford pear that'll be removed outside of Country Bagel and a ash tree outside of Saloon 151.
Question on the South High Street corridor project. As you're going through that, and the goal is to have brick all the way down all the sidewalks and everything. Is that my understanding is correct? Like that's the goal?
That's the goal. That's in our Saldo. That's in our High Street corridor plan. That's on our borough seal.
So question on that, they've talked about on the middle of Gay Street and High Street, the stamped concrete that looks like brick, but it's a little sturdier and all the things. Has that been a consideration if we're going for that look of brick, but better, easier to maintain, maybe not as, tree, branch? Has there been a consideration or could there be consideration to use that stamped brick look on the sidewalks as well if the ask is to replace the regular concrete or create that look and feel down the sidewalks? Could that be a better solution for the long term, for the future? Replacing things. I mean, I wouldn't say pull up a whole brick sidewalk and put it down with stamped if it's not in
Brick
bad
is,
shape.
I've been learning a lot about this. Brick is supremely durable, but it requires a lot of maintenance. The next most durable product is a stamped concrete product, will last the longest. You can color it, you can make it look like brick. But you'd be surprised that the installation price is not that much lower than brick. It's lower, but I like to be exact with numbers. I'm just going to throw an estimate out here. It's about 80 cents on the dollar, whereas a brick was, if you're paying $1 to put a brick sidewalk in, you're spending 80 to 85 cents to do see, I'm hedging myself already, 80 to 85 cents for a stamped concrete sidewalk. So I thought the cost difference would be a lot different, because how do you put down a brick sidewalk? On your hands and knees, right? And whenever I see a lot of handwork, I'm like, oh gosh, that's going to cost a lot of money. But not a whole lot of difference when I looked at the overall estimates. But I'll give you that option when we get closer to bid.
Because it's not, I'm thinking not just for the cost to put it down, but the maintenance cost. And would it be less likely to buckle and do all the things, or, bricks go missing from time to time?
It's also a policy choice. And I think it's also a policy choice. So I think that's rightfully something the elected officials should make.
Yeah.
Sean, I had the same question as President Shimoni did. And who owns the sidewalk once it gets done? Who owns the maintenance cost for the sidewalk all the way down to Rosedale?
The abutting landowners.
Yeah, and some of the properties aren't well maintained in general. So just by proxy, I would say that they probably wouldn't maintain their sidewalks. Maybe this will change in 10 years, but I mean, all you have to do is just walk down all the way to Rosedale and see all the trash in the yards and take a look at the appearance of some of the homes that are, a lot of them are student rentals. I think we can discuss this, but I think a low-cost maintenance item to make it look like it fits into the character of the borough would be a much better decision than bricks that will go missing or buckling or just not maintained. I'm really feeling strongly about that myself.
Okay.
And just so everyone know, bricks are generally going to be last a little bit longer than a stamped concrete, because concrete seals tend to break. So that's why bricks tend to don't, I mean, when we looked at what happened on between Gay and High Street, that was because the base was not what it should have been.
Just one other question. So did they, in 2020, did they allow that wiggle room for stamped concrete to look like brick, or was it designed to be brick?
That's the recommendation in that corridor plan was for it to be brick. And even in the appendix, it has cost estimates for brick. And that was eye-opening to me because I know roughly what concrete costs for sidewalks. And then I saw brick. I was like, whoa, that's a lot more. And the stone curbs too that's a very expensive amenity in town, the granite curbs. It's 4 times the cost of concrete.
Sean, Madam President, in order to repair a brick sidewalk, it's a lot easier to fix a brick sidewalk than you pull 4 up, put 4 down.
Mm-hmm.
You can't repair a stamped concrete or stamped asphalt that way.
Correct.
You're going to have hodgepodge all over the place. If everything starts to move, it'll look like a checkerboard going down the street.
Yeah.
And so you can't really, you have to take the whole system out or cut corner to corner and try to reinstall and match it. That's why the bricks are so valuable to be able to, and they're actually called pavers. They're not, they're much thicker and more dense, and you can just pick them up and put them down, but you can't do that with stamped concrete. Going across an intersection, because we have to put a concrete base in there to make sure we have a good solid foundation there. It's not as, it's only 20 feet wide. And if we had to repair something, we could cut it and put it back down. So, and bricks can't really take heavy trucks because they start to settle, especially the way they did it on Gay Street. They embedded them in sand instead of and millings instead of concrete underneath. So that was a installation nightmare that we caused ourselves. So bricks are a lot easier to fix. So, and if you ask John Barry, he knows how to do it. So we can get cheap labor. We can get him to do it for us.
All right, Daryl's coming up.
Daryl Cook, 506 South Walnut Street. Is anything planned for the PennDOT bump out the curbs that block the drains, making a 5-foot by 5-inch deep lakes, Lacey Street and New Main area? Thank you.
Yeah, I think we'll address some of that in the ACT committee? You did your presentation that some of the plantings did not go as planned with the winter, and that you were relooking at the plantings and the care for those bump outs because things did not go with the ice storms and everything. It's giving me a thumbs up from the back. Any other comments from or questions from those in attendance? All right, thank you, Sean, for your report. And we will move on to old business. Approve the March 17th and 18th Borough Council meeting minutes.
So moved.
All right. We'll move that to consent. Everybody's okay with that? Put that on consent. Move to new business, the Public Works Committee.
Thank you. I have 6 items that we need to discuss as far as Public Works is concerned. The first one is motion to schedule a public hearing for Chapter 62, Garbage, Rubbish, and Refuse, May 20th, 2026 at 6:30 p.m. at Borough Council Chambers. So we need permission from council to schedule the May 20th hearing.
Any questions? Any questions from those in the audience? All right, consent.
Number 2, motion to approve the Weaver Mulch lease agreement. Weaver Mulch leases Snyder Avenue location in lieu of payment. They mulch the yards and gives us mulch to put around the parks. And that was a 3-0 recommendation.
Any questions? Any questions? Nope. Good, consent.
All right, number 3, motion to adopt resolution for the Pennsylvania Department of Conservation and Natural Resource Community Conservation Partnership Program, C2P2 grant, up to $250,000 for the John O. Green Playground, Phase 2 with a 50% local match. Phase 2 is a remainder of the north side of the park, excluding the splash zone. And number 2, the grant application deadline is April 30th.
Everyone looks like they're nodding. Any questions out from? Nope. All right, consent.
Number 4, motion to adopt a resolution for the Pennsylvania Department of Economic Development Greenways, Trails and Recreation Program, GTRP grant for Hoops Park Playground Redevelopment Project up to $250,000 with a 15% local match. This is the complete overhaul of the playground hoops at Hoops Park, which is inclusive play being for a high priority. The grant application is due on May 31st, 2026, and that was a 3-0.
Any questions?
Just one. It sounds like they're two different grants, two different people.
That's correct.
Same amount.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
One's John O. Green and one Hoops. No, it's two each of 250. Yeah. All right. Number 5, motion to elect President consent.
Consent, yeah.
All right. Motion to adopt 2 resolutions for the Chester County Preservation Partnership Program, PPP, grant up to $100,000 with a 75% local match. One grant application will be in support of the John O. Green Playground project. Page. Number 2, one grant application will be in support of Hoops Playground redevelopment project. These grants can be used as matching funds and local matches for the DCNR and the DCED grants. The grant application deadline is April 30th, and that was a 3-0 recommendation.
So this is technically for 200,000.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Any questions?
Do we know, I see when they're due, but do we know when they'll answer?
Usually.
For all of these grants, we probably won't know until Q1 of next year.
All right, cool. That one to consent to, and then public safety.
Public safety, we have 3 items this month. The first, I have to actually ask a point of clarification on the weekend closure that starts Fridays, right? Okay, all right. So a motion to approve weekend closure of Gay Street for summer open air market, May 1st through September 28th. That was a 3-0 recommendation. We'll put that on the consent agenda.
Yep.
John O'Brien, Executive Director, Downtown Westchester. One thing we didn't talk about committee, I just wanted clarity. For 4th of July, since that's a Saturday, is the borough observing that on the 3rd? And is it going to be like Thursday the 2nd? That's the only one I had a question about for that one particular weekend. Okay. So that one little caveat, if we can figure that out. But I just had thought about that right now. Okay. And then for Memorial Day and Labor Day, we'll open it up on the Tuesdays, right? As normal. Okay. Thank you.
All right. Darrell.
Darrell Cook, South Walnut Street. Will the borough be receiving any direct compensation from those using Gay Street? Thank you.
I know you asked us that last year too. And right now, no. Any other questions? All right, Brian, I think you're good at consent.
That on consent?
Yeah.
All right. Next item, B2. Motion to direct the solicitor to draft an ordinance on the use of vape shops in residential neighborhoods in proximity to parks, schools, bus stops, residential zoning districts. We discussed a sample ordinance from Downingtown. I think I sent it to you. Lisa, thank you. I think our solicitors looked at it too, and she says it's pretty solid. I think we'd use that as a baseline. Again, this wouldn't prevent any current vape shops from operating. This would be the next one that's built. We figured it was worth looking into and directing the solicitor for a recommended ordinance for this. So that was a recommendation of 3-0. Any questions, comments, public?
I'm sorry if I may, just so I understand the direction, we should draft it essentially based on the downtown ordinance, which has separation distances and hours of operation.
Yeah, there may be more than just the examples of parks, schools, bus stops. Some of them might be churches. We have some language in here for other distances and requirements for, I think, student homes would be another example. So it might be a blended, but I think if we could start with Downingtown, which felt it was pretty much in the same direction as we were.
Yeah, I actually sent, Kristen has 3 different ordinances that she's looking at. And I would like, she asked the question, and it's something that I would like us to include in the draft, and that is products that are available there. I think I sent everybody an email or 2 about what's being sold in some of the vape shops now, including the one in the neighborhood. And that's the Kratom and the 70H, which is 13 times more powerful than morphine. And it acts on the same brain receptors as the opioids. The FDA has said this is the next wave of the opioid epidemic. It's a concentrated version of Kratom. Health department has issued a health advisory on this. And normally the tablets of this 70H, they contain like 15 milligrams to maybe 20 milligrams per tablet. Some of the ones being sold here are 100 milligrams. I mean, they haven't been tested for safety, consistency, effectiveness. And when combined with alcohol, prescription medications, or other substances, they can result in death. And just one more point, to top this all off, the thing that makes this crazy is you can sell it to children. It's totally unregulated right now. Right now, the state is looking at, the legislature is looking at outlawing it. Local municipalities as well. California, not known for being drug resistant, has already outlawed it, completely banned both kratom. So I would like to have the solicitor include that in there as well, and then we can discuss it further.
That in there as an exclusion?
Yes.
Okay, right. So we'll look at a couple specific products. We'll have a chance to look at a draft before this gets to committee.
It does sound like there's a lot of details that need to be worked out before council schedules a hearing date on this. And these details I would recommend could be worked out in a committee. So I guess the direction that the solicitor needs is from whole council is whether you want the solicitor to work on this, whether it's the will of council to work on this. And then, based upon what I've heard tonight, there's a little bit of direction from both sides of the table as to where to take the draft in. But I think there's more work that has to be done with your team.
Well,
next month.
I think we have enough to draft something, and then it would go back to the committee for comments before we advertise anything or schedule a hearing.
Yeah, I don't think this is that.
We weren't
No,
ready.
absolutely.
Yeah, we
We
need
wanna
to
look
take
at it,
back to
yeah.
Committee. We just want a draft ordinance so that we can look at it, work through it a little bit before it sees any more daylight.
Yeah, this was just to get all of council to direct the solicitor to draft the ordinance, and then it'll come back to the committee and we'll work on it before bringing it back to all of council.
Okay, thank you.
Will
Additional,
any vape shop be grandfathered from this?
Grandfathered in what way if they're already open?
I'm an existing vape shop and all of a sudden you make an ordinance regarding my location next to a public school or church or.
Those are grandfathered in.
They are,
location.
They would be grandfathered.
I don't know
This would
if
be
the
new.
Yeah, I think the
product
vape shop
question,
product.
yeah. I
the-
don't
Or
know about
the, yeah.
Tom, do you know the question of the product? Like if we end up creating an ordinance where we say you can't sell this product, if a vape shop was already selling that product, do they get to keep selling it?
We'll have to consider that issue. That's probably not a zoning issue. If we enact an ordinance that regulates what you can sell, then that would probably apply to existing vape shops. But we need to give that some consideration.
I know that's what's happened in other states. It's been pulled completely.
Open it up for public comment. Any comments on this topic? Okay.
Consent?
Yep, move that to consent. Number 3 is special event applications. There were just a couple. The first was the Westchester Green Team for Ports Fest 2026, May 16th. And the second one was for Friends of Marshall Square Park, the summer concert series, scheduled for June 18th, July 9th, July 30th, and August 20th. The committee recommended 3-0 to approve these special permits.
All right.
All right.
No questions?
No comment?
Nothing, Daryl?
Comments? Any comments on the special events? Seeing none, we will move on. Please put that on the consent.
All right, parking.
Just 2 motions. The first is to approve waiving parking fees for posting for Church Street between Chestnut and Patton Alley and Chestnut Street on May 14th, and a memorial for fallen officers. It's approved 3-0.
Yeah, I think moving forward, we should just memorialize this event so we don't have to keep approving it. Rather, the police just present the insurance, their updated insurance and request for the event. Ramsey, about the FOP event, could we memorialize that moving forward?
I haven't talked to Sean about it, but maybe there's an opportunity if there are certain things that we're going to do annually, we do a resolution either towards the end of the year for the next year or at the beginning of the year, because I know we also have the small business weekend and gallery walks. So maybe that way, not every council is stuck with the same decisions, but you could do it annually. And that might be an opportunity.
Perfect.
Second motion is to prepare.
So consent for this one? Any questions from anybody out there? Okay, yeah.
The second motion is to direct the solicitor to prepare changes to parking meter zones that are established. Ramsey, I don't know if you want to give more details about these changes. They're fairly straightforward. There are changes. The new objective for parking is to focus on consistency.
Yes, so this is continuation of last month. I will say, I'm going to ask that we not schedule a hearing for May. Kristen wants a little more time to work on the ordinance, and then we'll add some more things next month. But there were 5 questions that were asked in parking committee that I just want feedback from all of council. So the first one, if you look on the screen, the first 3 questions are for the timed areas. These are not metered areas, okay? And so the first one is on Darlington Street across from the Lot 7 Darlington Chestnut Street lot. Those parking spaces in the ordinance are listed as 3 hours timed parking. I'm asking, and parking committee agreed that we remove the time restriction there. There's a lot of residential in that area. It hasn't been signed. It hasn't been enforced. So it wouldn't be an impact to it would actually benefit the residents in that area. So that was the first recommendation that parking committee made. I don't know if you want to go one by one and agree or disagree. Does everybody agree to
I
that.
think I understand that. How does it benefit the residents?
Right, well, it's technically a 3-hour timed area. So we're requesting removal of the time so they could park longer in front of those residences because there is a parking lot right there for the F area.
Chalk.
Yeah.
So they, and then they take it.
I don't even think it's got signs, no.
No, but since I don't think we've done it in many years, so
Basically,
I
it
used to
just
live
makes
across from that lot, so.
that's why I was waiting. I
Yeah,
remember
so
that.
I'm just trying to figure, and I still have friends there. So
Yeah.
I just wanted to understand what their.
It makes them legal.
Yes, it makes it legal.
Okay.
That yes.
Thank you.
Okay, so is everyone okay with that first? Okay. The second one is for Railroad Alley, next to John O'Green Park behind Lorenzo's. This right-hand side here, we have a small issue with people warehousing cars. So the recommendation would be to make this 3-hour timed parking during the day. Permit area, there's the L permit area there. We do not want to displace those residents. I know there is a terrible lack of parking there, so they would be allowed to park there in the evenings, but this would it would help people stop warehousing cars there and allow for more park usage and maybe stop parking in the traffic lanes on Railroad Alley.
Why don't you just make it L permit totally?
Because it's still used by the park. There's businesses. I think there's a Boulder Kids right there. So I feel like a compromise would be daytime business, nighttime residents.
Got it.
Anyone else? No, okay. Recommendation number 3. So that's the YMCA on Chestnut Street and Walnut Street. This building right here, 222 North Walnut, is currently in our Chapter 77 residential permit parking area. We are recommending that we remove it from the permit area and make that 3-hour timed parking so that the people using that business can use it, still visit, and then also use the garage. But that would alleviate including more commercial properties in residential areas. Is everybody good with that?
So I know the building, obviously, but I'm sorry, I don't understand where the parking is on the street.
So that is included in the entire permit area over there. So they get I want to say they get over 5 parking permits and 5 guest passes. So we're recommending just making it a 3-hour timed area instead. And then if they need more parking, they can use the garages or the metered area there in front of the Y.
All right, thanks. So it's not a residence, it's a business.
It's a business, yeah. And since it's so close to the downtown area, this seems like an easy fix. I will say any changes that are being made that affect businesses like this, we will send out a letter also notifying them before we have the hearing. So sorry. Okay, so the next group, this is for metered parking, so paid parking areas, and there's only 2. The first one was a recommendation to include Gay Street from Darlington to New Street. On the St. Agnes side, that is currently bus parking for certain times of day, so we'll keep that. But the recommendation on the south side is, right now it's currently 1-hour timed parking with no meters. And we're recommending including this in the paid parking area, which would be 3-hour parking. Is everybody okay with that? Okay. And the last one from Parking Committee, and I'm sorry, Brian was helping me with my geography because I had all the streets wrong. So we were recommending the paid parking on High Street currently stops at Bernard Street. So there were 2 blocks to consider. We are not recommending including Bernard to Union. There's a 7-Eleven with the parking lot. There's churches and more residential. So we are not including that in the metered. Parking Committee did not want to include that in the metered parking area. But we did want to include Union to Dean Street on the west side where there's Amore, the music store, Nanu's, my son's favorite restaurant ever. So that's the final recommendation.
This one was the one that confused me when I was at Parking Committee. You're like, meters, no meters, meters. And it was like, if I was driving down, like, first of all, I didn't even realize in front of like what Amores and stuff, that there was like 3-hour parking or whatever it is, or was nothing. I had no idea.
Yeah, there are signs because I
mean,
did
don't
see them.
Park in town really that well, because I walk every
Right.
day. But still, but it seemed odd to me when you were explaining it. And maybe that it was like metered and then this one block, no meters, and then meter again. And I'm like, why don't you just make it consistent? If you're turning it off, just turn it off, or, you know, or if you're leaving it on, leave it on. Why do every other block?
It is in the town center district.
For your church to have parking in front, so.
So, trying to be consistent, but again, I've had a lot of feedback from churches and wasn't trying to, you know, be accused of paying to pray. I just thought that block is not necessarily necessary for paid metered parking, but I mean, if that was a recommendation from parking committee, I'm open to what council says.
Don't just leave this block without the paid, like the way it's been without the paid meter. This is the block after the church block, right?
Right.
This is the block south. And right now it is what again?
3-hour parking
3 hour,
time.
no meters.
Right.
I mean, I'm not going to die on a hill for this, but I would say just leave it that way if you're not going to make meter parking on the block ahead. Is it going to be 3 hour no meter on the 7-Eleven block too? Is that the goal?
No, it's
That would
not
just
timed.
Nothing
Yeah.
on that one? It just seems so confusing.
I don't think it's confusing if you have the right signage, but again, this is a pretty commercial block. That's why I recommended including it. But again, it's up to council. Parking committee recommended it. And I will say, you know, there's a cost to enforcing the 3-hour parking with no, you're no revenue from meters over there. So this would benefit that, you know, that you'd get revenue from that, but
That's currently a kiosk, right?
no, this is just 3-hour chalked by Amore, and yeah.
I'm sorry, what is it on the northbound side again? It's just 3-hour parking? Or is it not, or is it just non-permit parking right now?
On the,
The northbound side on Church Street?
from Bernard to
Yeah,
Union,
This block here, I'm just curious.
On the left-hand side, Brian?
Left-hand side in this picture.
Right.
on the top picture,
Bottom.
oh, bottom, I don't even know if it's timed parking there. I have the ordinance.
I would make the whole block the same. Just
3-hour
does
time?
feel a little,
Okay.
especially if you're used to parking on that block, or I don't know, it does seem like we're going for some consistency here. It feels like this is the opposite direction.
I don't disagree. I just have a concern about the churches on that one block. There's 2 churches. There's one across the street from the other.
Have they said anything about,
No, I mean,
there's not that much parking there. You're talking about, well, Sundays it doesn't matter anyway, right?
right,
Well, the Baptist church has a parking lot.
right.
Small. And then the Episcopal church uses the parking lot across the street on the Union Street side. Now, the 7-Eleven.
That's a lot. Yeah. I understand that, you know, we are trying to be consistent.
I'm just,
I have-
both of those churches. are
Afraid of God.
I don't want to be struck down.
Most of the churches are 4 hours or less, 3 hours, you know, Episcopal
Right.
church is an hour and 20 minutes. But you have a business there, how would that, you know, would he still have to be as 3 hours parking? He still wouldn't have to pay for those signs and those special signs.
Right, it would,
Use it for a funeral, right?
right.
Do we want to revisit this part in parking then?
No,
Let's just, I would just say, do you want
think we
it
can.
paid or no?
I think we can say,
Skip it.
do the whole thing.
Oh, include all of it?
Yeah, right?
With meters, you're saying?
Yeah, that's what we're
Meters?
talking about.
Okay.
Because it's just that one little part in front of the churches that we were leaving out, and it sounds like they have some parking, and it's Sunday anyway, most of the time, so.
Like I said, I do really want to talk to the businesses and the people affected by this before the ordinance comes through, and I will try to manage that before bringing
an entire,
Yeah, I think if that's the case, we should take this one part back to parking. Because you have to talk to the businesses and let them know and everything about the changes.
Well, they can still come to the hearing. I mean, we'll still have to modify the ordinance and schedule the hearing in June. So if that's the direction, that at least gets me to get the work done, and then we can still let them know. Are we good?
Yeah, and John, you're back there. Do you work with the churches as well? Help get the communication and just make sure that we're thorough and that nobody thinks that we're trying to sneak one in.
Yeah, I'm happy to reach out to the businesses on South High Street. Just as a general note, I have gotten a lot of feedback lately about the 3-hour limit in general, about businesses. So I know this was kind of getting the ball rolling, that, this was for the businesses. It is not being received well. I've reached out to, knowing the restaurants don't like it, so I didn't reach out to them. The personal care services and the retail community. The retail community is very split about a 3-hour enforcement. I know there is some discussion about whether or not this has been enforced before. I would argue that if it was heavily enforced, even though it's been on the books since 2003, people will read this as a new ordinance, and we're already having such a black mark in this town for parking that I think from a brand management standpoint, moving forward is going to be difficult with this.
I object, Your Honor.
But
We do not
I will
have
say
anything
just
parking.
where I did hear the feedback, especially in personal cares, salons, for instance.
Wait, just let me
Sure.
take a step back, because I think we're asking about this particular.
Sure. For those
You're-
blocks, I can reach out to
Yeah,
them.
thank you. That's.
They're obviously not going to love it. I mean, if for what it is, but I can work with Ramsey on meeting with them and telling them that it's going to happen. I mean, is there I just from council, like when we have the dialogue, is the message to them that this is going to be moving forward just so they're aware of it? Or is there,
That we are.
we'll make sure to inform them
Doing the metered parking for 3
from
hours.
Bernard Street down to
Because we're trying to create something consistent.
Dean, but not to Price. I mean, I guess there's no parking on Price.
Because I don't think there's any parking.
Yeah, there's no parking on Price. Okay.
John, your information that I plagiarized last week was that your study for geofencing said no one stays past 3 hours. It's
2 hours and 17 minutes.
Yeah, it's 137 minutes. And when it gets to the 4th hour, it drops off drastically.
So yeah, I would say that report is a median and average. And in any of those, it's somewhat of a bell curve. So there's going to be people on both sides of those numbers. Feedback I got, for instance, from like salons, they have clients that'll be in there depending on the hairstyle treatment that they're getting, 3, 4, 6 hours up to that. Heard that from tattoo parlors as well, an art gallery that does classes. I know it's a little late and that the borough is already somewhat the horses out of the barn a little bit on this, but I just wanted to instruct, we're working to sell it.
Well, remind them.
But
this is only street parking. This is not garages. This is not lots. You can park in a garage. You can park in a lot. They're all right in the town center. I mean, you can do that all day long. You can park there.
And
So-
we're willing to be part of it. I will just offer that obviously the Flowbird has not gone well. We've all heard from that. And we're going to be moving to Park Mobile.
The lots.
But it's going to be one more thing. And, we're already hearing it. I'm hearing conspiracy theories already that, the borough's moving forward. It is just to ticket people more.
John, I think, thank you.
I do want to issue a point of order. I was the only one against it, because actually listen to these people. We want people spending as much money, as much time in the borough. That's my opinion. So
let's go what Mr. Marvin says. Everything's free.
I wouldn't say.
Mr. Marvin was.
Well, no, and we wouldn't be advocating for free.
Change in your position.
It's not
You're going
advocating.
to catch the ball or you're going to sit in the bench.
Well, Bernie, I would ask
No.
the borough.
I'm sorry, raising my voice.
No, it's fine. Budgetarily,
You keep
it wouldn't matter to the borough. This change doesn't matter.
what jacket you're wearing. and who you're in front of, who you're telling stuff to. So it's either this or it isn't. And if it's the borough's position, we expect you to help us sell it because it makes sense for the part-timers. Thank you.
And I always do. I think this is part of my job to give the feedback that I am hearing to the council. I don't make the decision, you all do.
I'm one of your supporters, and you know.
And we help to communicate it out, but I just wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't let you know what I was.
So what do they want?
Free.
No, not free. I guess the question is, well, budgetarily, Bernie, it wouldn't matter. If you had a car sitting in a spot for 5 hours paying or 2 cars sitting for 2.5 hours, Borough's going to make the same amount of money anyway. So it's not really a budgetary conversation. The idea is to move, from what I've always understood, to move workers from the street to the garages and lots. There are obviously different circumstances for that. I did hear, for instance, from restaurant owners that they have young female employees who work late at night who don't feel safe walking late distance to the garages. I'm just giving the feedback that I've heard. And you all make the decision from that. My job is to just communicate what I'm hearing so you're well informed of what I'm hearing.
Thank you. And that's
For
all.
what it is.
No. And to your point, Brian, and to your point, we do want to understand everyone's perspectives when making a decision. You need to understand all the different perspectives to make the best decision possible. That said, I think a lot of what we're thinking up here is that there's other feedback from the other side that may outweigh some of this feedback, and we need your support to help those individuals also understand that perspective as well.
Yes, and we did a lot with communicating on Flowbird and with Park Mobile will do, and will of course help. I just want you all to be aware of what I'm hearing as well. And because it's been said that this is for the businesses. So I just wanted to get the feedback that I was getting
And that's
from the
fair.
businesses.
We heard the feedback.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
I do want to say a couple of things. One, we did really make this decision based on data and information of the time that people are parking there. And the idea is to make it more consistent. And I am really hopeful that this will help bring more people into town. We're going to have much cleaner signage, clearer signage. I feel it. I come into town and every time I text Monica and go, oh my God, there's no sign here, or, and so but I will say that as we do this, the 3-hour time limit signs, I am not including that on the new design of the paid parking area signs. They will be red and white underneath. So if we decide in a year from now that 3 hours is not enough, and we've all felt the pain of it, it is something that we can modify. And it won't be a huge cost. And I've spoken to Park Mobile. I'm also working on validation codes for the businesses to give people a free $1 off their first parking session. So I am really hopeful that this will work out. And I really do mean that. I come into town all the time. I get my kids' haircuts. I love this town. And we are also going to include loading zones on each block as well. So that'll help with some of the quick pickups and hopefully also help the businesses. So I really am coming from a good place here, and I do hear the feedback, but I know people don't like change, but it isn't something that we can't walk back later. But I do think it aligns with the goals of the parking committee for this year as well. So
Ramsey, with that being said, is there going to be like a grace period for the enforcement, like 30 days, 60 days?
there's no grace period because once it's programmed, it's programmed. But the goal right now to roll out the Park Mobile, I'm hoping that it'll be online internally so that we can test it in the month of May. And my goal is to have it ready turnkey with new signs by June 1st. And Flowbird will then sunset on June 30th. So there will be a month of overlap where we'll be able to help people learn Park Mobile if they paid on Flowbird because they didn't realize. That means we're probably missing signs, but there will be a 30-day sunsetting. But once the kiosks and the app is programmed and it's on, it's 3 hours. And it is also 3 hours per block. It's per zone.
What about the enforcement though, with that potential confusion that you mentioned?
It doesn't affect, we're not chalking these vehicles. It is how it's set up. So if you pay with your license plate in zone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it will only allow you to pay for 3 hours and you cannot extend it after that. You would have to switch blocks or then you would be ticketed. So
But I think Brian's saying, can we waive those tickets for 30 days? Is that what you were saying?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think with a lot of these changes in certain areas where they weren't accustomed to it, I think that to me would be like, hey, we're going to give everyone a grace period. That way it helps the restaurants, it helps people coming into town.
we do typically, if we don't always, but we typically do a one-time dismissal. I know over Christmas time, there were a lot of people that had their Wi-Fi on, couldn't get on Flowbird, and I did a lot of the disputes and would give them a one-time dismissal if I could see that they hadn't had more than 2 parking tickets in town before. So
The Jesuit in me talking, Mr. Flynn.
I would be mindful of grace periods of enforcement, but I think that, maybe it's something we could discuss in parking committee, and if we want to do the first 2 weeks or we can.
So take that back to parking committee. That can be a conversation.
Any other
But-
public comments?
Oh, yes.
Darrell Cook, South Walnut Street. Back to Railroad Alley, 3-hour daytime limit. What is the definition of daytime? Thank you.
I believe what we are planning on doing is from dawn to dusk, so it'll be within the park hours. Is that-
I guess the signs will say that.
Yes,
dusk.
yes.
We've heard before that dusk is not a legally enforceable phrase. It can be set as sundown, which is legally recognized, not dusk.
Learn something new every day.
I will confirm. I want to see what the park signage says also, and I will confirm. So that will be included and it will be consistent. I'll run it by Chief Lee or Dietz and confirm. And that will be in the ordinance that you'll see next month.
I know Parks has discussed that because they're getting new signs and they do know about that. So, yeah.
Any other comments?
Lola Birkenstock, West Washington Street. I just had a question, maybe you guys already discussed this, in regards to how you're going to be rolling this out with the transition from Flow to Park Noble. Are you guys going to be utilizing like social media to get the word out? Because there is a lot of, I'm very tech savvy, and Flowbird, to set it up took about, 20 minutes to even like download the app, just to make sure everybody's, aware of all the changes that are to come.
We actually have a part-time admin assistant, and her primary goal or her primary job is to do social media for parking. So she's already created a bunch of handouts that we'll be handing out. And she's going to be doing some rollout online as well. And then I'm sure I'll beg Sean to put it in the e-newsletter as well. So we're going to do a better job this time. We've
We
learned.
talked about having some training.
Yeah, yes, and I know Lisa had mentioned possibly doing an open house here. And our officers are, customer service is supposed to be their number one priority. So if you're struggling, they will come and help you.
And what that open house would be training sessions for residents or anyone who wants to come and learn how to do that. And you could even make, Bill, a video of how to do that and put it online. Simple enough.
Thank you, Ramsey.
So what about the older people, and say they have like flip-flopped? How do you accommodate them if they're parking in town?
So the nice thing about Park Mobile is that you can use the app. You can also call with a flip phone and pay over the phone. And so text, call, app, and there are going to be 5 more kiosks. So we'll include more kiosks this round. I think the pads are going to be put in shortly and they'll be installed. And then fixing the signage to get you there. And then probably more kiosks in the areas that we might need more.
Thank you, Ramsey. Any additional comments? Was there a question in the back? No, okay. Any other additional comments? Thank you.
Right, so does this go to consent at this point with all of these updates, including the meter? I'm sorry. Where are we taking this?
You said table the park.
All of
I
parking?
don't, I'm, so,
Hearing's delayed.
okay, so you just want Ramsey, motion to direct solicitor to prepare changes to 104 parking meter zones, 104-47, time limited at locations 104-33, the end. Rid of the and schedule a public hearing. All right, smart growth.
Okay, a couple of HARB applications. It's motion to approve two of them. Consider a motion to approve the January HARB certificate appropriateness for 27 South Darlington Street. They want to install some HVAC equipment. There will be a single box on the back of the building. The second one is 129 East Gay Street. There's a front door. The front door is wood. It's rotting, and they want to replace it with a very similar product, similar material, similar design, as well as a side window replacement. Any questions? Questions from the attendees? Okay, so move that to consent. And the next is a motion to approve the request from the Historical Commission for a $5,000 proposal from Springhouse Films to conduct an oral history project. Chris Lang will be the oral history coordinator from the society. And this is from there's a budget line. There's a line in the budget for this year for the Historical Society. And so we want to approve the oral history project on the request of the Historic Commission. Questions? Questions from the attendees?
Darrell Cook, South 1st Street. That'll include video, correct?
I believe there will be some video, yes.
Daryl, you going to apply to be one of the historians that talks about your life in Westchester? Okay.
All right, so we can move that to consent.
All right, Finance and Revenue, motion to approve establishing a revolving loan fund for building improvements. This is use proceeds from Keystone Grant to lend funds for community development projects to improve buildings, housing units, and infrastructure. 3-0 decision. Any comment? Any public comment? We could put that on consent. Discuss awarding the bid for Maple Alley conveyance upgrade to Joa and Bradley Construction for $596,859. We did receive the certificates that did confirm that Joa and Bradley is in compliance with the responsible contracting ordinance and has an apprenticeship program. I recommend that we move this to consent as well. Any comments, public comments? Thank you, Mr. Mitchell, for your due diligence. And motion to approve the following purchase requests here. And I'm going to go a little bit out of order here. Oh, okay. McDonald's uniforms, that's police uniform purchases, including body armor, 40,000, Wild Lawn rain garden maintenance, $20,336. Rain garden maintenance, tremendous shade tree maintenance, 90,000. That's shade tree maintenance and tree removal work. McGovern environmental, 980,000. And that is sludge hauling for both wastewater plants. DCS Solutions, $39,500. That's janitorial services. And finally, CDW Collective non-capital purchases in 2026 for $103,000. That's technology requests. All approved 3-0. Any comments? All right. Any public comments? Seeing none, we will move this to consent. Consent.
All right. Last but not least, Act Committee.
So the first, oh, sorry. I'm with you. All right, the first thing we talked about is the updated policy for council attendance, remote attendance at meetings. So we made the changes that were suggested. He made the changes that were suggested by Kristen for that which says the policy applies to Borough Council committees, work sessions, and voting sessions. That's already defined under the Sunshine Act, but we went ahead and put it in there anyway. Other changes, the remote member will be considered as present, but cannot be part of the quorum. So that means a quorum does have to be physically present wherever it's advertised. Scroll on down. Remote, this is the only other change, basically says the remote member has to be able to see and hear, and you have to be able to see and hear the remote member, which means cameras as well as audio. Those are the only changes. So do we have a motion to approve the policy for council remote meeting attendance? Any questions?
When will the policy take effect, and are we technologically prepared to do it?
Yes, we're technologically prepared to do it. When does new policy take effect?
Adopted by council.
There you go, on adoption by council. Any questions from the public? Come on up.
Wall Street, 18 West Minor Street. If someone phones in, they're not counted as part of the quorum?
That is correct. They have to be able to see and hear. They can still do it, but they're not, even if you are, you can see and be heard, council members we're talking about, you're still not considered part of the quorum. The quorum has to be in the room.
Then there's no use calling in because you can't vote.
That's the one point I want to make. So we can still vote if you're remote. You just are not counted towards the quorum. So if there are 3 people on the committee, 2 are in the building, 1 can still phone in and participate.
Yeah, but the vote doesn't count.
It sure does.
Once you establish that there is a quorum, like there are going to be 2 people here or there are going to be 4 people here, the others can come and, yeah.
Right, but if I'm just saying, if there's not enough quorum present,
you can't have the meeting.
can't have a meeting.
Well,
Oh, okay. Then that works. No, then you don't phone in.
The meeting would be canceled.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So that makes sense because I didn't see the sense of it. Okay. Thank you.
You got it. Good question. All right. Motion. Everybody good? All right. Consent. All right. The next one, we had not seen this. We had sent this back to Sean to work. The changes that were made, I hope you've had a chance to read it, where we did change the two-day response time to 1 day. We also changed, you no longer have to get permission or go through the council president in order to contact, our contract people. I don't know that there were other changes made, Sean, were there? The only question I have in here is, it says, let me get that out of there. Under the agenda management part, it says ideas, this is getting ideas for agenda items, et cetera. Ideas should start with an informal conversation with the borough manager and department heads. I don't think I should have to come to the borough manager and department heads if we want to have an conversation about what we might want to talk about.
I think it's to get on the agenda. Eventually, you're going to have to talk to the borough manager to get something on an agenda because he actually physically puts it on.
I think we need some clarification on that then, perhaps. Because it says, encourage to engage their colleagues and borough manager to develop ideas that lead to public discussions and/or votes on motions.
I agree. That's confusing. Because any one of us can put an agenda item on each other's committees. I
mean-
can put something on finance, I can put.
Yeah, we don't have to, we don't need
No.
them to.
But I
to
think,
start
I think
conversation.
maybe what should be clarified is the approval of the agenda items
That's fine too.
before they
I
get
mean,
published.
To actually put them on the agenda, we would have to go through them. But to start an informal discussion about them, well, I don't have to involve them.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Maybe we just take that sentence out. I'm confused, Nicole. Ideas like 4 lines, yes.
Ideas should
Ideas
start
should
with
start with
formal
informal
conversations. It's got to be the third line right there.
You see it now?
Yeah, I'm reading the whole.
Part of this, just so like nobody's surprised about what shows up on an agenda. I'm just curious why that language isn't there.
I don't think it, yeah, it does. I don't think we need it in there, so I don't think it's value added, and it's obviously causing confusion. I would say remove it.
Sean, is there any context that you want to add for that sentence that you feel like we're not getting it up here that?
No, it's just a suggestion. It's been in the draft for a while.
Yeah. It has been, I just didn't, we had bigger fish to fry with this policy before. So what do we think? Take it out? Take it out, put it on consent for tomorrow.
I'm fine.
Brian?
Yes.
All right, motion then to put this, remove that one sentence and put it on the consent agenda for tomorrow. All right, the other things are motion to approve the annual lease with the Westchester Food Cooperative. It's basically what we've done in the past. Consent, any objection, any comments? Moving on, motion to approve an annual lease with the Westchester Growers Association. Again, the committee recommendation was 2-0. Dana did make some updates to these things to just make locations correct and things like that, just to make corrections. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, was there a question that came up during the meeting about aligning, making sure that the dates were aligned?
They are now aligned.
Okay.
The only thing that is still different is the time is different by an hour. But it's what they want, so that's the approval they got. Any comments? Good. Any comments from the folks in the? No. All right. Move to consent. Motion to approve authorizing the borough manager to execute an energy supply contract at a value less than PECO's price to compare. Sean, you want to talk about that just a little bit?
No.
No?
I'm not the expert on it.
Yeah, sorry. Will.
Hi there. For over 2 decades, Pennsylvania.
Could you introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Will Williams. I want to go on record saying 6 hours in a hair salon is ridiculous. May not be the expert on that, but I haven't spent 6 hours on my hair in 10 years. So for several decades now, Pennsylvania has been deregulated state, which means we can buy energy from someone else besides PECO. It gets billed through PECO, it gets delivered by PECO, but we can shop around. It's a great thing. It helps us keep our costs down. So we've been doing this. I've worked on this 3 times now, signed multi-year contracts. The contract that we're on right now expires at the end of the year. It is projected to save us over $300,000. The vast majority of that is accruing as savings on Sean Mitchell's budget because so much of our energy is used at our 2 wastewater treatment plants. So this is our contract price versus PECO's price to compare for electricity. Pretty much the only driver for electric costs on the supply side, there's obviously demand side. The supply piece is natural gas prices. And I look at this information on a weekly basis because I'm an energy nerd, and it is a good time to be thinking about making a next energy purchase because the natural gas price is so low. It's fell 6.5% since I gave my presentation to the ACT committee. So I think I sort of concluded my remarks last week by saying it is a good time to be shopping. The problem that we run into is it's kind of like buying a stock. If I came to you and said, I'm going to buy this stock from you, but I need you to give me a price, and then I'm going to take it to a committee next week and hopefully get a 3-0. And then I'm going to go to Borough Council the week afterwards. And then a couple days after that, I'm going to be ready to sign. How would you price that stock versus today? You would make me pay more for it because of the uncertainty of the next couple weeks. So what we run into here is you have to execute these contracts same day. So I can't come to you with a drafted contract with the terms all set out. So the way we've navigated this in the past is to say, we're going to go shop, we're going to get a bunch of prices from energy suppliers at a time that we think is advantageous. And then we're going to ask you all to approve that we're going to do this, and Sean is going to execute the contract. And the threshold for executing that is that it's going to save us money. And like I said, we've done this really well in the past. This is probably the easiest thing you can do that will have a 6-figure impact on a good way on the borough's finances, and again, mostly in the wastewater department. So we're just asking for that permission to do that. And what we'll do is, like I said, we'll shop out, we'll get a bunch of quotes on the same day, we'll execute a contract, and we'll report back to you. Here's where we executed the contract at, here's our projected savings for the contract term.
And Will, as I recall, it's only if it's below Pico's number.
Yep.
And it's a fixed time with no cancellation.
Yes. Thank you for asking. I need to correct something I said last week, which is that there are cancellation fees. The way it works is if you cancel for whatever reason, you're on the hook. So that entity who's already sold you that energy is going to go out and try to resell that energy. And you're on the hook for the difference. So if they can sell it for less, then you're off the hook. If they can't, you are on the hook. So I have done this professionally for almost 15 years now. I used to sell a lot higher volume than we're seeing here. Buy at a lot higher volume than we're seeing here. I've never overseen a contract that was terminated early, except when the asset was sold.
So what is the term you're looking at?
I think, so it's a little weird right now, but I think I said last week, the longer you lock in, the lower rate you get. So we typically look for 2 or 3 year contracts, and that's sort of industry standard. It's just the world's really weird right now. I'm not sure I would want to make a longer term commitment than that. But at the same time, if the pricing is really advantageous, then it's a good thing to do. So sorry, that's sort of a wishy-washy answer, but it's a tough question.
No, we did this before, correct? We gave you permission before. So this isn't anything new. Fully support that, what you're doing, Will. It's going to take too much time to come back to council and make these decisions.
Yeah. And again, you're going to pay a premium. You're going to pay 5 or 10% premium just for the, having someone lock in a price for 3 weeks.
Any other questions, comments up here? Comments, questions from those participating? All right, consent tomorrow?
Sounds good. All right, let's move on to other business. Motion to appoint borough manager and an alternate as voting delegates to the Pennsylvania Association of Boroughs.
PSAB is holding their annual conference. I'll be attending. It starts on Sunday, May 31st through Wednesday, June 3rd. On June 2nd, the PSAB will elect its officers, and I'd like to participate in that vote. I will be at the conference, and then there is a vote on resolutions and policies of the PSAB at the business closing meeting on Wednesday. So I'd like to be the voting delegate on behalf of the borough and get a chance to cast a vote for a change.
So we here have to figure out who the alternate is, or the,
You can appoint an alternate, but I am going to the conference. So probably won't need the alternate to do that, but if there's
If
somebody.
we need to, we can appoint them then. Because the motion will just say the borough manager or an alternate, correct?
Pick an alternate now,
I
in
don't-
case for some reason I'm not able to vote
I'll nominate,
6 weeks from now.
nominate Mr. Sapaniak.
No, or can it be Ramsey?
yeah, I was gonna say.
How many, what's the delegate that's going? Who all is going to this? I don't know who.
Elected officials and management in boroughs in the Commonwealths, and who's going to I'm
Yes,
going,
our
and I
delegate.
think Jerry's going for a day, and I think Lisa's going for a day.
Okay, so
We're driving
for some
up together.
reason Sean can't go in a particular day. Wait, you two are going the same day?
Yes.
So you're only allowed to miss one day.
In a chocolate stupor, and I can't vote. You'll have to, Jerry.
That's why I'm thinking we send Ramsey in his place. Yes, Ramsey? What do you? Yeah.
Yeah, I think that makes the most sense, if you guys are.
Go to book a tea time for Sunday?
Not going to play on Sunday. I have a wrist problem,
Oh,
tore ligament.
oh geez, okay, all right. I drive up for one day for that.
All right, so we're moving this to consent. B, motion to approve the 2026 open air market rules.
Yeah,
Is it different than in the past?
a little bit. The only difference is that under the physical layout, Aaron really wanted to make sure there was a free space down the middle of the roadway at all times. So 2.5 feet back from the center line of the roadway, it creates a 5-foot open space down the middle to just effectuate quicker evacuation if someone's being pulled out on a stretcher or something.
And I didn't read this carefully enough. Do we also say there has to be a sidewalk that people can actually walk down?
54 inches.
All right, good.
Uh,
Not that that happens, but.
A question for Ramsey. Friday and Saturday, I guess. Are we going to start having enforcement to actually do a walkthrough to make sure that these regulations are actually going to be enforced? Because there's always a creep come July and August. Not like creepy people, but they creep towards the middle, and they creep, towards the table creeping. Yeah, yeah.
I believe that they will. And also, my family won't eat dinner in town with me anymore because I just walk through on my cell phone texting Aaron and the parking department the whole time. So I'm sure that Aaron has a plan for some weekend and evening engagement also.
Great. Thank you.
And where in this does it talk about the sidewalk being clear?
So this does not reference the sidewalks because the sidewalks are already codified in the cafe permits and that's governed separately outside. This is really just the street. Your sidewalks, they already have to have a permit and that's where the 54 inches and all that other enforcement action is handled. That's why it's not referenced in this document.
Thank you for the clarification.
Any comments from those in attendance? All right, and then we've got other business. All right, come on now. Thanks for attending the meeting and being part of our process.
One comment about the the cafe seating. Why glass only and why no oh, sorry. For the outdoor.
Say your name before.
My name's Samantha and I'm from Jitters on Gay Street. So for the outdoor seating, why is there only glass only allowed on the streets? Like, why can't we use plastic cups?
John's coming down to answer that question.
So this keeps us in compliance with what the cafe permit and your outdoor dining policy already states. So anybody that has a cafe permit, you're already required and have been for 10 plus years that you use glassware, That's why we continue on the street, because the borough's outdoor dining policy that's tied to the cafe permit references that as well.
Again, thank you, council. I'll be brief. Again, I'm James Waldron. This is Sam DiStefano from Jitters at 146 West Gay Street. Per the advice of Keith Karowski from the Parks and Rec Department, we are here to request an exception to the 60-day minimum for special event applications, specifically for our annual Westchester Hot Dog Eating Contest. Due to its popularity and overwhelmingly positive public response at our initial contest, which was held 2 years ago in 2024, we requested a special event through the borough, which was approved last year in 2025 to allow us to fence off a section of Gay Street right in front of Jitters to allow for a stage for the contestants and a dedicated area for our customers. These past 2 years, we have held the contest to align with First Friday on the opening of the Gay Street Open Air Market, and we would like to do the same this year, which is why we're here this evening. Admittedly, with the cafe permit applications, the Gay Street construction closure, and other business-related licenses and permit renewals, we mixed up our timelines and missed the deadline to apply for this special event within that 60-day window. The Jitters Westchester Annual Hot Dog Eating Contest has become not only a favorite with residents of the borough, but well beyond Westchester. We've had nationally ranked professional eaters participate in past contests. We've got another 3 lined up for this year alone. So it brings a lot of exposure to the town. It brings in a lot of business. With the exception of the council's approval, we've done all the legwork to meet all the criteria needed for the special event application, such as coordination with the Westchester Police Department, Good Fellowship, EMT, ambulance service, business insurance, PLCB, etc. So that's all I got. Yeah, we're
just asking for you guys to maybe consider accepting us to allow us to still do it May 1st, pushing it back another 60 days.
I just wanted to say, again, Keith Krowski, Director of Parks and Rec. The reason this wasn't on the agenda last week is because it was inside of the 60-day out window, and myself and Sergeant Malicki didn't have the opportunity to speak about this because of our schedules. I did speak with them today. The event was held last year. There were no issues or concerns with the event. They have submitted all the information they need to us to hold the event as they would normally for the 60-day out window. It's just inside of that window. I just want to make sure you had that information first.
How far inside? I don't do math.
It was submitted on April 1st.
30 days.
The question, I love it. Hot dogs are my favorite meal.
We got that.
Peanut butter and jelly. Yeah, but not together. Even though John Kruk does put mayonnaise on his hot dogs, which, oh my gosh. Anyway, the Heimlich maneuver, we talked about the having the Good Fellowship people there. Are they still scheduled to make sure that they can pop one of those things out? You get stuck?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, great.
Yep.
Thank you.
Fine with it.
All right. Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure that the public safety plan was signed off by all. I think I heard that, but I just want to verify that that happened. Okay. Yeah, good.
Well, any comments from those in attendance? All right, sounds like we'll put that on consent. So
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, council. Much appreciated.
you get a vegetarian hot dog?
We have-
Oh, okay. All right.
For good hot.
With mayonnaise, it sounds like it'll be delicious. All right, thank you guys.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. All right, any other business?
It's okay. I'll be in touch.
All right, we're adjourned at 8:38 PM. Thank you, guys.